Week 7, day 5, rained out. No big deal, guys. Guys will just have a day off. And I'm not going to have guys digging soil today to move it because they just work at 1/4 speed. But a video that I've wanted to do for quite a while here, that is a all-in-one video of working with AAC. So let's get to it. People have asked why I have a hoodie in the Philippines. For rainy days. Linda's digging a hole to I don't know where. It's actually going to be a composting hole. From our other videos, you saw me cutting into the AAC with a reciprocating saw. I haven't shown you a manual saw. It's a very broad tooth. Again, I'll show you that in a minute here. But here's the electrical panel. Now, I put it in reverse on purpose so that you can see it. But the panel would normally be on the other side, okay? And all those pipes would be going up, and the fridge itself will be right here. So obviously the panel is going to have to be on the other side. But for demonstration purposes, the pipes would nicely channel here. I cut out a whole section on this one because it's going to be necessary when we first start this to have wiggle room. Now, when we're coming up from down below and we put the block, this one below, we'll be able to line this all up with the panel. And if we have to do a little filing or chiseling, then we can do that there. I brought a couple of very heavy wood rasps. We used to call them bastard files. Anyway, very, very aggressive. And it levels all this out nicely. On this particular one, I did not use a reciprocating saw. I just used a drill and went down multiple times and then used the file to level it out. No, on part of it, on the back side here, I did use a reciprocating saw because the chisel, or the chisel bit went sideways. So as far as electrical boxes and stuff go, this is what we're going to do. Now, whether it's a, like in the CR, it's going to be a octagon box, right, for the light. But here's an example of using a receptacle for a plug, and we will put the channels in. And Michael and I talked about this. What we're going to do is take a reaming bit, and we are going to make this hole bigger to the back side. It won't make any difference, guys, but that way we can put, he'd rather see rigid pipe in here instead of flex pipe. He hasn't been able to justify to me why we can't use the flex given it's inside the wall, right? It's not like the chip, chip, chip method. There's, it shouldn't really need to be solid pipe, but so be it. It is what it is, and it's easy to do. We've got a lot of the roll piping here, and there's my cloth to wipe my sweat off. But this is mainly used in the ceiling for coming to the lights, etc. So one of the issues that we're going to have is junction boxes. Because, again, if we follow with what Michael wants to do, then these pipes all have to be rigid. That means all the ceiling is flex. And when it comes over, it has to marry to this. And he says, no problem, sir. We'll put it in a junction box. I said, yeah, where will the junction box be? In the ceiling, sir. How do I get to the junction box if a wire separates? No hidden electrical boxes. We left Michael to his own devices when he did these. And can I show it here? Probably not. You can see the light hanging down there. Okay, now that's where the octagon box should have been, and that's where all the wire splicing should have been. Instead, it's up inside the ceiling there. Ay, biga. No, absolutely not. We follow the Canadian Building Code. No hidden junction boxes. Now, what we may do is we may make another panel like this to be the last panel at the top of the ceiling, and we can put junction boxes in there and do all the splicing. Now, what it'll probably be is not your standard octagon box. I don't think I see one here. No. I don't see one here, but you know what I mean. It's almost round, right? Might do another channel like this, and at the top do that. Put those boxes in, but my way of looking at it is I can buy these far cheaper. Just buy a small one, put it in there, do all the splicing inside one box. And so that's what we might do at the top, and it'll be above the fridge and above the over fridge cabinetry, so it'll almost be right at the ceiling. So that won't be in your eye, as it were. So there we go. Now what I'm going to do is grab some AAC block here and show you drilling into AAC, cutting into AAC. I'm not going to show the reciprocating saw again. Let's see here. Anyway, I'll just grab as many tools as I can. So here are the main tools that we're going to need for the electrical and water. And I'm not going to show the reciprocating saw. It works just fine. But here's an example. I'll put the microphone down. Gives you an idea of the teeth size, guys. It's pretty beefy. Make sure that they're a spread type, okay? Cross cut, not a rip. We're going to do the multi-tool, and we're going to do an 1.5" spade bit. Now remember to have your tool set. Now in my case it's about 18 on the drill. I want to make sure that this thing will pulse when necessary. I don't want it to bind, especially if I'm drilling holes side by side. I don't want to over torque the drill because it's battery. Okay, let me get a piece of AAC and we will get at this. Okay, so here's a 1.5" spade bit going into AAC. Get it a little bit sideways for you. Okay, so there's drilling into AAC. And we'll swap out batteries here. And as you can see, it makes pretty short order of it. This is why I ended up using the drill versus the reciprocating saw to make those slots. It was easier to drill multiple holes and then just clean them up. So for the reciprocating saw, I'll make a note here, guys. What happens with this stuff, this is very, very fine powder here, okay? And so it's important that when you're using these tools, they do tend to get bound up, okay? The powder just starts packing itself in and making a layer. So often you have to go in and clean up your tool. But as far as getting into the tool, let's go here. Let's do it downward and then you can maybe see it better. As you can see there, we go through it like butter. It's really, really easy, okay? And if you think that hollow block and that sort of thing is stronger, I challenge you, because the hollow block here, you can go up to the corner of it and you can snap it off. You can. And this stuff here, you know, I know you can go into it really easy, but you can't break off even that most. There, I did. I finally did. I finally took a little piece off. But it is strong, guys. Okay, now the other thing is with this high bastard saw. Again, probably going into this easier than going into wood. Pretty straightforward, but I can feel it already binding. So what I've been doing is just, see, it's bound there on the front. So you got to pull it all the way through, and that frees up your teeth. And then go right back into it again and cut down. Now, I found that the easiest way to do this is to minimize the amount of binding, is to cut down, then cut up, then clear it, and then do the middle. Okay, that's the way I found this easiest. Anyway, as you can see, we could channel. Whoops, I got off center here. Okay, we'll assume that we're going to do a piece of pipe in here. And if you're using this in an enclosed space, guys, I strongly suggest you wear a mask. Again, this is quite powdery, right? Then pull your saw through to clean it out. Now, I've got a standard wood chisel here and somebody's hammer. There we go. And if I want to take that out of there, All I have to do is do that, and there it pops out. Now, I'm going to take this. If I do this with a hollow block, guys, it explodes. But if I want, I'm going to hit it right there. Now, I put a dent in there, but the whole hollow block's gone if we do that with a hollow block. Okay? That's a hell of a hit. Ease of construction. And if you turn around and say to me, hollow block's still stronger, it's still stronger, I wouldn't have those dents in my walls. True, true, very true. But this is an eco product. You're going to have more thermal on this than you will with concrete. The quickness of doing this, and again, if you're going to do a full house to completion, you will find that this is cheaper because all I have to do is do the superfine skim coat on here and then a putty layer and we're done. Okay. So to wrap this all up, guys, what I want to point out is you will have to get somebody to prep all of this in advance. You can't turn around and expect to happen real time. The adhesive has to have time to bind, and you just don't want to be underfoot. So you're going to have to prep all of this in advance, right? Have some blocks done. I also want to point out that hollow block test that I did, or AAC hit that I did with the hammer. I want to qualify that to say I'm not doing what some of the other videos have done, where they just hit a regular hollow block without it being filled. And I'm talking filled. Not just that little glop that they just take a little ball and drop it in there. That's not good enough, right, guys? So what I'm talking about is a properly done home with the rebar in there, the 3 layers of splatter, and filling the hollow blocks, okay? So it is more of a true demo in that respect. And then finally, to say that our house, the garage test, it was good that we did it where we added the CR using hollow block. Resindo was so happy. But that job took 5 days, and the equivalent wall space on the garage, that's 1 day. So, and no rebar, so just from a labor component, you save 4 days, and no rebar, no concrete, right? Okay, there we go. That's a wrap on this video. And Lynn is cooking, so I think I'm getting lunch soon. Or maybe it's her sardines. Later, Gators.